So let's start. That should be probably the last complaint about in this course of not having time, I hope. Because I really didn't want this to become a course with a lot of burden every day. And I hope it didn't turn out to be. That you got enough time to read and do a few problems that will make you go to text again. That's all. Okay. So in Oracle, so today what I'll talk about will be focused on Oracle. I'm sorry for you two guys right now, but just whatever you learn would be useful. You don't know when you get a job a month down the road, would it be, you won't be able to choose that, no, let's migrate to Oracle or migrate to OpenBase. That may be different. Huh?
In my case, the job might be with OpenBase. So that's
okay. Then I'll really sit with you after the class. Let's try to explore more about OpenBase then, if that'll be so critical. Okay. So in Oracle there are two types of optimizers. One is rule based and one is cost based. When you use a rule based optimizer, it has predefined set of hierarchy, and it is going to use those conditions to decide what query it is going to use. While in cost base, it is going to pick up a plan according to least cost of getting where you want to be. Okay, so by default, if you don't specify anything, the rule based gets invoked, because Oracle knows about it, Oracle knows what to do, and everything is well defined. In cost based, you yourself invoke it either by analyzing certain tables that I'll tell you what it does, or you ask it, you actually tell it, make it a cost based. Okay, so all the syntax and everything, I'll give printouts also, and I'll briefly discuss it here also. Okay. So to start off, you will be doing, so you are at SQL prompt, you're going to do, first you'll try to do, this is, so auto trace is what you are trying to turn on, so you can trace what all is happening. Okay, and if you hit an error here that it can't find the plan table or definition is not available, that means you don't have this table defined. So for every user space, you have to have a plan table in which it will stuff all the data into. Okay, so in Oracle there is a file which is called UT. utilxplan.sql. So all this file does is creates this schema for this plan table. So we'll identify for you guys where, because in your installation, where it is kept. So either we'll run it for you guys before the quiz so that this plan already exists, or we'll even tell you this is it, and if you hit that error, then source this file and to create that table. Okay? Okay. Then if you want to turn on all the timing statistics, then you say set timing on. It's an expensive thing to do, so you explicitly have to turn it on. Okay, because then Oracle has to keep track of all the time that has elapsed in everything that it has done. Okay, so this will give you timing at the end.
And how much overhead is the timing mechanism itself imposing?
I don't know how much overhead would it be. My feeling would be keeping track of everything. It is main overhead is keeping track of when it started, when it ended. I think it could be pointers. It could be. We could actually check it. I'm trying to think. How would you check it though? You have to turn the. How would we check it? The overhead that. The overhead that.
Stopwatch and count the difference.
Yeah. There is no physical overhead on it, but then again you have to keep like a pointer to where you started, what process. That's the overhead that comes with it. And it may become important if it is of the same scale as that your query is taking time for. Okay, so. Okay. Then for the cost-based, you need to understand that to be able to do a cost-based analysis, it is going to decide, okay, should I do a full scan of this thing? Or should I do an index scan or a range scan? What should I do? The way it has to decide is that if your range scan, say I'm giving an example, say the range scan using that index is going to take you, say it involves 80% of the table. Okay? So it is much faster to do the full scan because then it doesn't have to look for index. Because already you need 80% of the table. So how will Oracle decide before going in that which of the two it should take? Is by analyzing the table. Okay? So then before you can invoke the cost-based cost analyzer, is you have to have analyzed your table. So it is analyze table, then your table name for all, compute statistics for all columns.
Is that on the far right side? After table?
Compute, I should put it again. So once it has analyzed, now it knows the information about the table. And when it is doing the execution plan, it is looking at, okay, I will end up actually accessing 80% of the table anyways. So then it will pick up the full scan.
How does it analyze it, and what's the cost of it?
What's the cost of it? So to analyze it, it has to actually calculate all the rows that are in it. Okay, so it has to do a complete scan of the whole table, keep the information about number of columns. Okay, so it is an expensive operation, depending on how big your table is. But it is almost like a full scan of everything. It keeps the statistics of information about amount of data and everything in it.
So if it's almost like a full scan, why are we doing a full scan?
Exactly, because you can reuse it. You just have to analyze it once, and it keeps all this information in memory. That's why. Okay?
If it did that scan of, say, this table,
Mhm.
and then it got this 80% request later,
Mm-hmm.
how did the a priori analysis help it decide?
So what was?
Then once you do this, will it know not to use the index?
Yeah, that is when it'll. So you invoked a cost-based analyzer, and now it knows that this table has say 100 rows, out of which this query that you have sent in is going to use 80 rows.
Oh, so the cost-based analysis is relative to the
Exactly, query.
Oh, somehow I thought it was something.
No. That is relative to it.
It can tell it's going to use 80 rows before it does the query.
Because it has to find out. That is how it will decide what type of index to use and all the execution plan. It tells you the cardinality. I'll show you an example. It tells you the cardinality of how many rows are being returned by each step also.
So where is the SQL statement that you're analyzing the table,
Mm-hmm.
but that's with respect to some SQL statement you have.
No. This is a totally independent statement that you have given before you start doing your evaluation of your query.
So it doesn't know you're going to look for 80%.
No, at this time it doesn't. All it is going to do is, okay, let me just rephrase it if I confused you. When you did this, all it knows is what this table is about, all the statistics details of it. Okay? And then what it's going to do is when you ran the query is when it will say that, okay, is this table analyzed? Okay, if this table is analyzed, again, there is another problem now. Think of this. You analyze the table right now, and then you added more indexes to it. You didn't reanalyze it again, so it doesn't know about the new ones. So when you are doing this kind of actually in-depth analysis, and whenever you change, try to do reanalysis whenever the time permits.
I was actually going to ask, on a large system where you want to do cost-based analysis, is this something you would just schedule, like analysis of the tables every night or something?
That is, I don't know if you would do every night because schema doesn't change so often. It will happen only when schema changes.
Okay, so it's
Right.
not when your data changes?
Again, you have to draw a line. I mean, if it changes by 5%, it may not make that much difference on what query plan you will use. It is again a subjective thing. But schema changes are very important, even if it is a smaller subset. Whenever you have a schema change, you should do a analysis. So it is aware of all the different indexes that are available.
And so somehow it will know 80, okay, just do them all, whereas if you gave it 63, it says, no, go by the index. It
Yeah.
doesn't know that.
I think what I read in Philip's article was that if anything that takes beyond 20% of the table as the returned result, doing a full scan is more efficient. So
Sorry, what was that percentage?
20%. And then I started looking at, because I didn't understand how could you actually generalize this number as 20%. I mean, it is a very subjective thing. So I started looking into this book also, and they also mention approximately that area, but still you can't make a statement. They actually address this, that you really can't say where exactly to cut off, but
It would seem to depend on whether the thing you're searching is indexed or not before you can make a general statement like that, right?
it will depend on that, and depending on how big the data set is relative to a smaller file scan would always be faster. So it is discussed. I'll give you the printouts, excuse me, from that book also. I'll copy some parts, and Philip's article is also quite useful. Okay. So once you have analyzed this, and then you can do run your query, whatever is the select, and then it'll, because you have turned the auto trace on, it is going to give you the output of the auto trace. Okay, and as an example,
Did you say select?
your query, sorry. You put in your query. So as an example, let me show you what comes out of. Okay, so one of the query examples that you will see. So it gives you how many recursive calls of your function were there. Okay, it will tell you how many physical reads were there and how many bytes were sent across the network. If you have so it is a very powerful plan that if you have distributed database or distributed data across different servers, it will tell you that, okay, over the SQL starnet, whatever is, I think it is SQL starnet or something is called for Oracle, through the listener, it is going to send all the data across.
What about IO?
That is what is the disk reads. It is going to give you, physical reads. So this query had 2,223 physical reads with only, I don't know how many, 33 rows were returned out of this. And So you'll start getting a very good feel, and this exercise will actually make you start thinking about what a DBA has to take care of, or when you're writing queries, what it is actually ending up doing. So I'll write the output just briefly. The first line I'll write down so that you know how it'll look, and when you'll have the printout, you will know. I don't want to write the whole explain plan. So the way it is organized is, so you will get something like execution plan. And what this execution plan, this actually will be displayed to you. You can save it and print it out. It'll show you, it'll go line by line how it broke the whole query, okay? And then it will say, so the first one I'll tell you. So it says 0, then select statement and optimizer equal to choose. Bytes 27234. Okay, and then there is, so you will see that these lines will be cascaded along like this. Okay, it broke the query, and then when you'll see the printout, you will see that these lines are cascaded along. So whichever is the inside one, this is, I'm explaining the syntax of understanding what the whole thing will mean. Okay, whichever is the most inside in the printout that you will see, or is the first thing that it executed. And if you see on the same level, the topmost is the first one that it followed. And for every thing that it will do, it will write what was returned. So now this is the last one, say. Okay, this is in this plan, select is the statement that is the outmost here. Okay, so this was done in the end. So you can see what it did was, it is telling you everything in terms of you let your query let the Oracle choose the optimizer. You didn't specify whether it was going to be rule-based or cost-based. Okay, and the cardinality, that means you got 33 rows back after doing the final select, and these are the total bytes you got. Okay, so when you'll see, so you'll come to know, okay, so this is the first row. The second row is going to be something like 4, say 2, 5, 3, whatever numbers. So these numbers tell you what is the parent of this line. Okay, this line's parent is this, so this is what it will be followed by. So you'll see 2 lines of numbers and followed by the breakup of every line. I really couldn't find a good, like, concise statement to explain how to read and explain plan. I'll see if we have the Oracle manual has it. It is, once you get used to reading it, it becomes very intuitive. That how it becomes much faster, especially you'll be doing this over and over again to find out everything. So I'll try to. But at the first glance, you can understand this. The moment you see this, you know what is the sequence in which things were interpreted and what is being returned there. This is where it is telling you what optimizer was taken.
Just to make sure I understand the parent idea, we've said that row 2 and 4 are the innermost, so those will be the first 2 that are executed. 2 will be executed before 4 because it's above 4. So
yeah.
Parent of 4 should be 2?
No. It is not a parent, is not in terms of how it is being executed. It is how it was broken up.
Okay.
So when it is going to go for, let me tell you, when it goes for this row, right? So its parent is 5. So 5 should be actually, I should actually give you the exact numbers, otherwise we'll get this. This has to match with this. This has to match with this. Let me tell you then. So let's break it up and give you the exact. So there is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the parent is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 2, and then we have, so 0, and then you have a sort here. So select as outermost, then sort, and then filter is here, then table, index, and then here is the index. Okay, so this is what it is that you got. So now let us look at this line index.
Where's the F?
Excuse me?
What's the F?
It's a filter. So it is basically these. It has broken up this query into the way it is going to understand. So right now what we want to understand is the parent key relationship. That's what I'm going to focus on your question. So now let us look at, so this is going to be our first one, right? So that means the parent of this should be this, because the next this is going to get evaluated. Right? So the parent is 3 for this. Okay? What is going to go for after this is, yeah, so then it is going to be this, because now these two will have parent 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If we're going to spend a bit of time with it,
Sorry.
it would take me 2 minutes to photocopy of that sheet that you've got so everyone can refer to it.
Oh, that would be great. I'm sorry. Actually, why don't we just copy this one?
Okay.
Yeah. But this is clear now?
So yeah. So it's not the one that occurs directly before it, but it's the level.
Yeah, it is, because it is the parent level. But once the level change, then it is just before it.
Right. Yes.
Okay? So this will help you read the execution plan better.
So I'm still a bit confused with
Yeah,
the parent.
okay.
So the parent is basically says that number is basically the number of indentations.
No, not indentation. So see,
But in this case it is, but that's a coincidence.
say it again.
Like basically 3 means it's three places to the right, right?
Oh, this is just by
That's just by coincidence.
just by chance. This is just because I don't know how else to write it otherwise. This could be the 10th row. It doesn't matter.
No, I see it could be a different row, but for example the twos, right? They're both okay. I'm still a bit confused. If that's not the case, then I'm not sure what parent means.
In other words, he's asking what's the significance of the indentation.
It's an execution tree where
If, for example, filter was the most indented,
That would be the first one to be done. That's
that
all.
would be the first one to be done, and then maybe N would be
Thank
the
you.
next most indented. And so the parent of row 2 would be row 4 because it was the next level.
It's just telling you the order of execution.
no, it's telling you how the
It's
levels
telling you
improve.
the
It's
level
the execution tree.
above. It's telling you the first guy to be executed on the level above it.
And that's
No.
not necessarily the sequence.
Right, because there could be multiple ones on that level. And it only, in this case, row 3 and 5 are both on the same level.
Yeah.
And so they have the same parent,
Yeah.
even though 3 occurs before 5, we don't put 3 as the parent of 5 because 3 is on the same level. We talk about the parent being the level above those, which would be in this case filter, because it's the next level above it. So,
In order to do the filter, the optimizer said, okay, I need to do a table and an index.
Exactly.
And so that's rows 3 and 5. And then it looked at table and said, okay, in order to do the table, I have to do an index, and that's row 4. And
I see that, but so is there any information in those numbers which are not contained in the indentation?
Indentation is presentation. This could be all filter here.
I understand.
No, this is just.
I'm just saying, if I take the indentation, I can construct my
it is
the numbers in my second column.
exactly.
So there's no additional information in this.
No additional information. No.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can actually find out which will happen before the other one. Yes. Well, can you find out which will happen? Yeah. So this two will happen before this two.
So somehow that's
Yeah.
redundant information.
Yeah.
Just, okay.
Yeah. But if this whole query was written like this, I'm telling you it will be so difficult to read with 100 lines. It is very easy to read a plan when it is indented well.
No, I see that, but I'm just saying, in addition to that, then you do the numbers, so I'm not sure. That doesn't give any additional information. So that's my whole question.
Right now you're not feeling that it is not. When the plan becomes very long, you see that both of them work together. You can see both of them. Yeah, both of them become very helpful. Because otherwise, if you want to see, suppose there was no number like this, and you wanted to see, okay, let me find everything in this level. So you'll start matching those things. Now, right now, you can just go, okay, let me pick up the first two out of these 100, and I can just come here. So in long queries, it becomes very, very helpful.
You could analyze these results as tuples themselves and pull information.
Say it again. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So the cost, was that in the number of discrete?
No. Cost is totally different. Cost is an internal measure, and I'll give you a printout. It depends for everything. It is a different way. It is an abstract number that is calculated by Oracle. I'll give you that. They're like small formula for it. It goes into DB tables or some table to calculate these numbers. Okay. So let me give the next part is how to actually give hints to Oracle, which is very useful. Is once you know that, okay, I am most interested in getting the first row that is returned by this whole query, not all the rows, so they are called hints. So the syntax for hints is, you can say select and this is underscore. And then your query. Okay, so what you are telling is by this is a comment. Okay, while this is a hint. Okay, so now you are telling Oracle that pick up the execution plan in which the first row is returned the fastest, because I am interested in first row.
Will it still return all the rows? Or?
It will return, but it will pick up because it has to finish the query that you have given. Okay, you could be writing a cursor in which you'll just pick up only the first row, whatever is the reason to do it. Okay, but it gives you a reason, a way to actually pick up the query that, okay, the first one when you find it, okay, is what I'm most interested in. So it may be that by whatever execution plan it takes, that the rest, it may take much more time to go with the same way, but the first one is returned very fast and you just are interested in that. Okay, then second one is, another switch is,
Okay, so when you say first row, how are they sorted then? Or?
No, so there is a result set. For whatever query you put in, there are, say, 50 rows to be returned.
Yeah.
Okay? You are interested only in the first one.
But how's that? Which one is the first row?
So in some way they must be ordered. Whichever row is returned to you first. Maybe the first one that was inserted.
Yeah, but most likely I won't know that, right?
No.
In the SQL query itself, it's always going to be default order.
In the table there is some order, not even order. There is some sequence.
But the query runs, it will return some
some row as the very first row. So this optimizes it to be the fastest.
Because there's a default sorting someplace?
No, not sorting. It could be just order. Not even, I don't want to even use the word
Okay, so
order.
if I say select star from some database,
Yeah.
and that's order. So what is the default order?
The first row. First row, it could be you could have inserted any data in the.
But it's not the first row I inserted, right? Most likely, it's some first row.
You don't know.
It's probably the lowest value on the primary key.
Yeah, you don't know. You have no idea what.
That it uses it.
If I am okay, so,
Yeah.
okay, it could be your. So I'm not sure why. If I don't know what is the first row, why is that helpful?
Okay, if suppose you are, if this table is indexed, okay, and you want only the first one, then if it is indexed, if you know there is an order in that table, okay, you just want the first name that comes out.
So what is normally the order?
If you are searching
Maybe
on.
I'm asking the wrong question.
If you
No.
care about it, you should ask it for an order. Otherwise, you take what you get.
All right, so I'm just saying I want something back.
No, so you are going to get 50 rows, okay? Suppose you are interested in finding out is, okay, let us take an example. If any row is, I don't know if this will clarify everything, but I'm just thinking right now. If I know that any row will be returned, I do something. Okay, so I'm interested in finding out, get me the first row. If I don't get a first row, I know there's nothing being returned. Okay, I'm interested in finding the first row that satisfies this thing. Okay, I don't care. So what you end up doing is you are forcing it to say, let me find just any row satisfying this. That is the execution plan I should find. Does that?
No, I can see that. If you're interested in anything, yes.
Just I'm trying. This is just an example. I'm trying to clarify. It may be a wrong thing to do, but all I want to clarify is that it is giving you a choice to control what you asked. How do you actually tell Oracle what you're looking for? So these are a set of switches that you say that, okay, another switch is cache it or not. Cache this query. If you know that if you generate this page, you'll end up generating 10 different pages for this user. And each of these 10 subsequent pages will use the same query. So tell it to cache the query. So you can actually say cache it. I think that is cache, yeah, exactly. Cache or no cache, whichever way. No underscore or no cache. Either we'll look in the book, no, not that one. I'll look in this book, or we'll get into the manual, Oracle manual, and we'll make this thing as a list that you can use.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the first two hints you're giving first rows and all rows. As a user,
These are different.
I see there's two different hints. So when I do those two hints, what's the difference to me?
Okay. So you are telling Oracle that of all the execution plans that you are getting, my priority is that I just want to get the first row.
Okay.
So pick up the plan that makes it fastest to get the first row.
Okay. And the one. Okay.
And for all rows, you say, no, I want everything that satisfies this. So pick up a plan, whichever plan it picks up, so you optimize this.
So all rows seem to be the default then, or?
All rows could be default. I would think so.
Makes sense.
All rows could be default. All rows could be default.
So is there some possibility you can use global settings then? So
Yeah.
the purpose of the Aura.
So there is Aura. So I'll tell you, it is, I think Aura 8.sid. There is one file. Do you remember this file? Yeah.
Aura and no cache, for example, might be local overrides on a global setting.
On your so there is a default. Actually, that might be the answer for it. We can actually remind me to print this file out also. Let's pick up an instance of what we are running here and find out all the variables that go into this file. Okay, I know the cache setting can be done in that. So it could be that that is where you set up your default for your instance of Oracle that you're running. So every time you'll shut down your database and restart is when it is going to read all those defaults. And when you change it, you'll have to shut down your database and restart the database. Okay. Then, so be very careful of missing out this plus, because then it is a comment for Oracle. Okay. The other is that you can actually force it to do a full table scan and give the table name here. So you are forcing it that do a full table scan. Suppose you look at the execution, okay, and you see that I'm going to use 80% of this table anyways. Why don't I force it? Okay, but be very careful that the syntax requires that if in your query, remember we can do like an alias of employees E, right? And so you have to put here alias, otherwise it will not work. This is very important thing to remember. Okay?
If you're using the alias, you have to specify.
Yeah, you specify the alias. And this is a syntax thing for Oracle. Okay? I'm trying to think if there is any other thing that could be wrong in syntax that won't let you use it. So another thing is just try to think when you force something like a table scan, that you end up in your execution plan, you should end up seeing the full table scan written in that. So that yes, your hint was taken up. Okay, just as a test when you are doing it. Make sure that you didn't make like a syntax mistake here, that it didn't use your hint. Okay.
These queries give you the exact same output. The output is the same for all these queries, even though they use different hints.
Output, oh yeah. Output is, the plan would change, the output is exactly the same.
The order isn't changing.
Order
Of the rows?
The sorted.
In the relation you get back.
Oh no, that is not. No, because you're not modifying your query. All you are doing is you are telling it you are guiding it to pick up the execution plan. I think that's all. That should do.